what's best for business, right?
Yeah, and it's not just but it's kind of what's key to our survival and to our growth. You know, we've shown, like, I think yesterday we had like a huge merchandise day, just kind of out of the blue. You know, like Maureen, the director of operations, kind of texted our group chat and said, we're having a monster merchandise day, you know, and obviously we've all been keeping a very close eye on the pay-per-view buys, you know, and like I remember when we had a group chat going because we had sold out the pay-per-view, and I was like, look, it's a few hundred seats, right? But for us, it's a big deal. But it's like we sold out the pay-per-view in like 4 hours. And then I think the first day of taping, so the next day, I think that one sold out in a day or two. And we had like 4 seats left on the second day of taping, so the third day overall. And we sat for days and days just like, somebody buy these 4 tickets. You know what I mean? So we can announce the show sold out, like Christ. And then like they finally went, and it was just like, you know, so that's how closely we're all watching, you know, the revenue streams. So it's kind of like, and we all know that, like, we all know that we need that. So it's kind of like, yeah, like let's build this business. You know, at least that's certainly how I feel. And it's one of the many, many reasons why this, you know, the last 2 years has been the most rewarding of my career.
It's a team effort, and you all, like you said, everybody's in it for the benefit of the NWA and the fans. Nobody's really in it for themselves. Now, you mentioned you sold out the pay-per-view incredibly quickly. Has there been any talk of, you know, expanding, maybe going north, or looking at other venues for future pay-per-views?
Yeah, that's always in the discussion. It's, you know, it's literally just it's just a business decision. You know, we just weigh up the pros and cons, and you know, there's a lot more to it. You know, people love to oversimplify. Even, and I'm not suggesting that you're doing that, you know, by asking the question, but you know, others who have publications and websites, and you know, who have a sort of quote unquote, you know, expert opinion, they love to sort of throw stuff out. You know, well, they should do this next. Oh, they should do, you know, and without any real consideration of what the, you know, the business implications are of that. Like take TV, for example. Like, God, if I had $1 for every fan and, you know, personality, it was like, when are y'all going to get a TV deal? You know, and it's like, what is a TV deal? Do you mean just like the ability to be on television? Because like we could do that tomorrow. Like we could go and pay to be on a network, or we could go to do a barter deal, like with some network. I mean, there's like 1 million channels. You know, like that's easy, but how do we get people to watch our show? You know, like, and how do we create some value in it? Like, who gives a shit if we're on TV if we haven't been able to, you know, sell anybody on joining us for this ride? And you know, like I said, we that's why we made the conscious decision to go, no, we want like maximum eyeballs potential, so let's go on the world's free TV channel, YouTube, and you know, build our audience and like show everybody, you know, what we're all about. Now I understand that at some point, you know, there will be a fork in the road for that, but we're also confident, you know, based on some of the people that have approached us, that at a certain point, if all our numbers keep ticking up the way they are, like if our revenues keep going up, we're selling tickets faster than, you know, we sold them faster than this last time, and you know, we want to sell them faster the next time, and then we want to, you know, sell more pay-per-views for the next one, and so forth. If we can keep ticking up on all those revenue streams, we could be, you know, we could be profitable, we could be sustainable on our own, you know, and that's when it gets really interesting to me, because then we you know, we don't need anyone. And then it's like, if someone wants to do business, like, yeah, come to the table with a real deal.
Right. Then they come to you.
Right. Like, let's make some money. And that's how I feel about all the, you know, the big title fights and stuff too. Like the big title matches. It's like, bring us something. We're comfortable growing at the rate we're growing. Come to us with something. We don't need you. Like you came to, you came to us in the first place. It's like Cody, when Cody came to us, he came to us, but we didn't go, hey, what about a title match all in? They came to us because he knew what he was looking at.
Yeah. And it's funny you say talking about YouTube over TV deals. I could speak for myself and Joe, even the shows that are on TV, I will still watch them through either YouTube or through the app or something like that, because there's in 2020, there's no, aside from monetary gain to get eyeballs on, it's easier to have it on your YouTube or on your app or whatnot. Not many people sit around and flip through channels anymore. So There's no, the money's not in there, and you have plenty of ad space, on YouTube as well. So I think that really makes the most sense. And, like you said, you guys have over, north of 1 million, almost 1.5 million, I think, on the entire first season alone. Is that in line with expectations, do you think, or did you guys kind of blow those out of the water pretty early?
It's exceeded our expectations, but I wouldn't say it blew it out the water.
Okay.
We were hoping for sort of a couple of 100,000, which is what we've sort of leveled out at. We were hoping for that, so that we could, because that was enough for us to build on. And we thought with a conversion rate, with a sort of 1% conversion rate, then as far as pay-per-view buys, like that's a decent return. And then, we were just sort of looking at advertising rates. And look, we've had, people, I know we do the goofy commercials, and some of that's just to have fun, but it's also to prove the concept to advertisers and sponsors, because the high spots ones, those are bought ads, and the Retromania, ad that I did with the I'm Going Retro, like that, those are real bought ads, like those are real paid partners with us. And look, I've been on Spike TV with TNA, a couple million people a week on primetime television, and I never got approached for any endorsements or whatever. I just did a thing today on Instagram for Manscaped, because they came to me and said, hey, we'd like to pay you to endorse our product, and then I just got a unbelievable custom-made suit from a really awesome tailor in Miami, who, again, completely for free, which is awesome to me. He reached out and said, hey, I want to make your suits. I love the show. I love what you're doing. I love your style and approach and thing. I want to make you suits.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like, hell yeah, you could make my suit. And that's just me. But it's just proof that, going forward, we're creating an environment and a feeling with our show that I think that once people start to really get it, and I'm talking about from a commercial standpoint now, they start realizing that there's real value in jumping on this train, because it's because the affection that we have from our audience will translate stronger to our paid partners and advertisers, because it's not just, it's, they don't feel like, oh, okay, here's some commercials, we make the commercials entertaining. So then they go, yeah, here comes the commercials. Oh shit, Geico or whatever, right? And it's cool, we're very open about that approach, and it's between those and our other revenue streams, we all kind of had this epiphany. We all sort of came to this realization, hey, we could be profitable like this. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the commercials are really some of the best parts of the show. Every single week. And I'm really glad you brought up Retromania, because that has been a hot topic among the internet and on all the social media. That, for fans, you're jumping in that late 80s, early 90s kind of generation, and with the wrestling fans back then, we all grew up playing video games in the arcade. That game looks, identical to, amazing. It looks identical to WrestleFest, but updated. And with the roster, I saw Of course, you're in there, the BWO, Zack Sabre Jr. How in the world did that come about? I think that's going to be I'm so looking forward to it this year.
Like, all I know is that they came to me, and then I managed to sort of parry that or parlay that into a wider deal with the NWA, a licensing deal with the NWA. Like, they came to me, and just, I can't even remember when they first came to me, but they kind of started going, hey, we're doing this game. I honestly, I thought it was just going to be like a iPhone game. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like a app store or something.
Sure.
So I just sort of went, oh yeah, cool. Sounds good. Like, whatever you need, like, let's, just tell me what you're offering, and we'll kind of go from there. And we started working that stuff out. And obviously I showed it to Dave and just kind of said, hey, look, check this out, whatever. And then, I got talking to the guys at Retrosoft, and they were just gushing about how much they loved the NWA and everything. And I was like, well, why don't we just make a wider deal then with them too? Like, don't you want, wouldn't that make, isn't there some value? And like, don't you want the NWA? And they were like, oh, hell yeah. We're like, you think that would be possible? And yeah. And so that just sort of happened organically. And yeah, I mean, I'm learning about the game the same time as everyone else is. So I don't really have any insight, because, that's a separate deal. Like, they just worked out a licensing agreement with the NWA. So it was just another cool little revenue stream for us. And yes, and now I think once we've seen how well the game seems to be being received, and how much anticipation there is for it, then that's great for us, because it's a sort of co-promotional thing in that respect. Because then you talk about kids and YouTube and everything. My nephew is 11, I think, and I saw him recently when I went back to England, and like, this is the first time he's given a shit about any of the stuff I'm doing with the NWA, because he plays a Nintendo Switch, and he's, gaming all the time and stuff. Right. And he was just like, oh my god, I saw that, like, oh, that I'm Going Retro ad was so cringe, like, oh my god, but like, what's that? Like, can you get me that game? It's just, that's, so for us, that's those kind of things make a difference. And that's where Dave Lagana really is so key to, what we've been able to accomplish, because he really takes a lot of time studying the way media and the media business, how it's evolving. Like, he really tries to stay up with what's happening, like what the real curve is. And I know he's a big disciple of Gary Vaynerchuk, and just follows a lot of those types of people. And I've learned so much from that side of things, as far as sort of brand building, and and obviously Billy, through his own contacts and influence, in his world. It's just been a really nice recipe, like, between my take on the actual wrestling business, and sort of, seeing that unfold, and having, a sort of, I feel like quite a good read on my generation as far as the audience and stuff goes. And then Dave's read on media and technology, and then Billy's read on showbiz. It's a good combination.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for being able, everybody wants retro is in now, but they're retro things that are done right. I mean, they just hit on the nostalgia factor, but they also complement that nostalgia with, the modern times. And I think that's what NWA Power has done so
right.
well.
It's very serendipitous that their game is sort of coming to fruition at the same time as our show started to, really gain some traction, because they obviously are appealing to the same sensibilities.
Sure. And if you're, like you said, but it looks like one of those, like a simple game that's just fun to play, you could pick up and do. And I think I saw the NWA, the studio was there in the background. There's so much hype about it online.
I geeked out huge when they sent me the sort of first, like, screen grab of the sort of early rendition of my character in the NWA Power set and everything. Like, and they sent this to me, and they were like, do not share with anyone, like, you know, eyes only, like, you know,
top secret.
like,
right.
all right.